Unproductive Seasons. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. Psalms 1:3. Are you in a place in your life where you feel unproductive spiritually speaking? Do you feel like a baseball player who is stuck in a batter's slump? Does it seem like no matter how hard you try and no matter how many right things you do, nothing is working like it should? Do you feel dry, empty, and worried there is something wrong with you? Each fall, near my cabin in western North Carolina, thousands of people come to drive the winding roads of the Pisgah National Forest and enjoy the colors of autumn. The bright orange, red, and yellow leaves are magnificent. By mid-October, they reach their peak. A few weeks later, they turn brown and fall off the trees. Without their leaves, the trees look stark and barren through months of winter. Life is still there, of course. It just won't be visible again for a few months. Not until winter passes and the buds of spring begin to emerge. Psalm 1:3 doesn't compare God's people to leaves on a tree that peak for a few weeks and then die. Rather, it compares us to a tree planted by streams of water which yield its fruit in season. If you have been to Israel, you know that the terrain is largely desert and prone to drought. Many of the streams there are actually wadis, dry riverbeds that may only fill with water once a year or less. For this reason, the roots of a tree planted next to a wadi must go down deep in order to draw nourishment from the unseen underground reservoirs. This way, even in the dry seasons, the tree is able to remain healthy and alive. Every tree has natural seasons of productivity as well as seasons of dormancy. Just because it doesn't produce fruit year-round doesn't mean it's unhealthy or dying. Appearances can be deceiving. I have a black walnut tree standing next to my North Carolina cabin. It must be 60 or 70 feet tall. It has been there for years, but for as long as I can remember, it has never produced a single walnut. Then one day, not long ago, I walked into the yard and looked up. Hanging from the tree were hundreds and hundreds of walnuts. Why had there been no walnuts in previous years? Because black walnut trees take years to mature to the point that it is capable of producing fruit. Was there something wrong with the tree? Not at all. It was just waiting for its season. It was waiting for its appointed time to produce its fruit. The same principle applies to us as Christians. We may feel we're being unproductive, when in fact, nothing is wrong. We're exactly where God wants us. It's not His intention for us to produce fruit every day of our lives, nor is it His intention for us to produce the same fruit as the brother or sister sitting next to us. Whatever you do, don't compare yourself with others. Different trees produce different fruit in different seasons. Some trees, like my black walnut tree, need longer than others to produce, but that's okay. God has determined that some things are worth the wait. Over the course of our lives, there will be seasons when we flourish and seasons when we rest. There will be seasons when we bud and bloom and seasons when our leaves fall off. We don't need to worry about it. We just need to trust God's timing. Sometimes, all God wants us to do is put our roots down a little deeper in His Word, drink from the reservoir of His living water, and be patient. It is perfectly okay to be fruitless now and then. Just wait on God. He is faithful. As long as we stay rooted and grounded in the Lord, trusting that He is at work in our lives, whether we see it or not, we will yield the fruit He has purposed for us in His appointed season, and we will prosper.